Where do you think this is all going? Do you think we're heading towards a different innovation with the use of AI or like these different technologies that are continuing to develop? Do you see this getting to a point where it's like a complete immersion, like on a deeper level than it's even at now?
I mean, the best example of that right now would be the Sphere, probably,
Mm,
and spaces like that, where it's essentially virtual reality. You know, like
mm,
the screen is all encompassing, it's all you can see. So, like, they
mm,
can put you inside a space, and it feels like you're there.
mm,
I don't know if you've been to the Sphere yet.
mm.
You should go. It's sick.
I want
So
to.
sick. I went to see the Unity show, which was amazing.
Yeah.
There was like an orchestra and like a whole
Uh,
2 hour like live synced experience with classic EDM tracks, and like it was so cool. And it was
mm,
a lot of that. They like put you inside a space, and there's one part where you're like floating through the sky, and there's like hot air balloons kind of around you, and they're like
yeah.
they're passing you, and it really feels like you're floating through the sky. And then the camera kind of turns down and you see a castle, and then you like zoom into the castle really fast on the drop, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa. It kind of feels like you're falling because it's like everything, the way the Sphere's set up is the seats are like almost like they're very steep,
Yeah.
and you almost feel like you're gonna fall off of the seats when you're up in the balcony. Like it's a little scary, you know.
Mm,
But they do that so that the wall, the LED screen, can like encompass fully around you. So it's like
mm,
almost a full 180 degree where you can't see, or like your eyes aren't focused on anything else. Like, so that's the most immersive thing
mm.
that I've seen, and I don't necessarily think that's like, you know, something that's going to take over the
Right.
industry. It's still like a very like special experience. You need to have like, you can't just like tour with that, you know,
Right.
like
Right. Right.
so like I don't really see like any major changes to the
Yeah.
way things are done in terms
Mm,
of a live show. I mean, like there's always like creative elements that you can introduce, like there's new lighting fixtures that can do cool things, and like sometimes there's like LED walls. There's some people who do like the LED wall thing where there's like a transparent LED wall and then another LED wall
mm,
on the back, and you can make like holograms and like illusions and stuff like that. So there's fun tricks. There's always like things you can do, but like the standard setup of just like lights, lasers, LED wall, I don't necessarily see changing majorly.
yeah.
And as far as AI, I'm scared of it a little bit.
Mm,
I see the potential to be used for this purpose, but that also would take a lot of jobs from a lot of
mm,
hardworking artists who have like worked their whole lives to get where they are. And I think that with AI, you can do a lot of really cool stuff. And like I'm not like fully against it.
mm.
I don't want to see it become the primary way that people are making visuals. You know,
Right.
like I think having it in a couple shows here and there is cool, and especially depending on how it's being used. There's like a whole
Yeah.
range of how AI can be used. There's people who are making AI slop, as you can call it, you know,
Yeah.
as it's referred to, and essentially it's just like lazy AI, you know, like where
Hmm.
they just type a prompt and make a video and they're done, or make
Right.
type a prompt, make a song and they're done. And then there's
Hmm.
people who have much more intricate workflows where they're like for example, Super Task's new show, like Super Task is doing this whole tour with this show that he built, and I actually helped him out on the Mission Ballroom stop with he had it all time coded himself, but we helped him just to like provide like a failover and like,
Sure.
you know, like, and just make sure that it was all going to integrate with the system at the Mission Ballroom properly and everything like that. So I got to see his process, and he's using like 7 different platforms and like node-based workflows, and like he'll create a reference image and then modify the reference image and then like create keyframes. He'll take like a scene and then like feed it into an AI that can give you like
Hmm.
multiple like views of the same room that you can use as
Hmm.
keyframes to animate between. Like there are some really cool things that are being done with it if you're
Right.
using it properly, but I feel like a lot of the way that it's being used right now is not that. And you know, and there's been a lot of
Yeah.
pushback from the community on it too, I think.
Yeah.
Like I Which is another reason why I don't see it being the primary form anytime soon, because people, when it comes to art especially, people still want art that's like made by people. you know,
Right. Totally.
for the most part. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think people want to see AI visuals. They want to see things that were like intentionally crafted down to every minute detail. You know,
Mm.
like where AI is just like a lot of it's like nobody came up with that. It's just like they
Yeah.
came up with the general concept, but nobody said that this was going to be there or that's going to be there or whatever. And like, so
Right.
it's not as intentional, like by
Yeah.
design. It's just not.
Yeah, well, I
So,
think what you talked about it too, where it's like there's a difference between just being like, "Hey, make me these visuals." Okay, cool. I'm going to use this thing, and like be like, I think I saw somebody recently in some interview talking about it was some DJ talking about like that they were using it for like conceptual work. So they were using it for like, oh, this is like an idea. Okay, cool. This gives me an idea for this. Then
yes,
taking that concept and starting to use it in different ways, right? Or like what you said also with the visuals of being like, it's almost like there's, to your point, just like the prompt generated stuff, but then there's also like AI as a tool where it's like, okay, well, this lets me, maybe I made this image already, but like it would take 10 times the amount of work to look at it horizontally, right? But now I can use this thing that lets me understand what that would look like visually from
right,
this side, and then I can manually tweak the things. And so it's like you can use these deeper, more advanced tools, just like software, right? It's like you don't have
yes,
to like paint the visual by hand now and then upload it and then Photoshop. It's like
right,
you already have a rendering software that can do that
right,
already. So it's like finding those more advanced ways rather than, like you said, just like offshoring the creative process. Because I think to your point, even if AI makes music that sounds good, like we want to go see an artist and hear what they have to say, right? We want to
right.
hear like what's their story. Like you talked about Zingara, and it's like you get the same random messages, but the important part is like she chose that to be there with those particular words to give that particular meaning to us because of who she is and the things that she's been through in her life. And when you
Right.
separate the artist, like we lose all of that. So it's a huge component to
Right.
have it.
Exactly. It kind of makes it meaningless, you know,
Yeah.
if it's entirely crafted by AI and there's no like human influence at all.
Yeah.
So so I think, you know, I do think it can be used in ways to create intentional experiences, but we're not quite there yet. I feel
Yeah.
like with the tools, and I feel like most of it is still just like not being it's just lazy, you know.
Yeah.
So the people who
100%.
are doing it, who are really diving in and creating like custom workflows and like node based systems and all this stuff, like that is work, you know, and like
Yeah.
they're creating something unique with it, and I consider that to be art, you know. Like I feel
Mm-hmm.
like if the amount of effort that goes into it as much as it would be to do it another way, you know,
Mm.
like at what point, you know, like I feel like it
Totally.
still can be, although I understand the argument that it's like being trained off of other people's art and there's a whole lot of tricky stuff there too.
Right.
So I don't know. I
Yeah.
I am like with AI. I'm like I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't take all our jobs.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like I don't know. It's
Yeah.
kind of cool, but it's also kind of scary. You know,
Yeah.
I've definitely
100%.
used it. We kind of moved away from it now. We actually had a lot of AI content for Zingara,
Huh.
and this year with the Parallel Spirits tour, we got rid of all of it because
Huh.
um, she just had some conversations with her community where she was like, they kind of like changed her mind about it. She was like, yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't think we should do this anymore. And I was like, okay, let's make cool
Hmm.
new stuff. I'm so down, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm glad that we did that. And I've seen that with a lot of other artists too, where it's like there was
Hmm.
this kind of initial wave where a lot of people were using AI content. And then there was like some pushback from the community and people like, and just conversations too. Like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of artists who started using it early on didn't really understand like the negative impact that it
Hmm.
could have. So I think a lot of important conversations have been taking place between the
Yeah.
community and these artists over the last couple of years, to where the artists are like, yeah, you know what, like just like I want people to support me as a real artist, I want to support a real artist too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I think especially coming from that perspective as an artist, they're like, you know, art should be made by humans. You know, like
Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
that's like the general consensus of most artists is art should
Yeah.
be made by humans. And then the AI art that it's obviously still kind of made by humans, but it's really just relative to the amount of effort that you put in to make something unique, whether I feel like you can consider yourself to have made it to some degree, you know.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.